Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode in our Korok Seed Master Mode Challenge adventure. Today, we close out the first, 8 nights of this challenge. It's weird because 900 is a weird number to break down. But we do hit that milestone today, which means that we've been working on this for a long time, and we are reaching the conclusion of this series. So if you're excited about the work that we've put in, please feel free to leave a like on today's video. And while you're down there, make sure you check to see if you're subscribed. And if not, go ahead and fix that, as that way you'll make sure that you don't miss out on any of the videos that I bring to you on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and jump into the 20 seeds of today's video. Seed number 781 is going to be, just up inside this snowy area. We'll want to go ahead and lift the rock off the top of this poor little guy's head, collect the seed from him, and then drop it right back down on top of him as we make our way away from him and into the next seed, which is actually going to be up at the target range. On top of the little shack, there is a set of fairy lights that you can interact with as long as you make it up to the top of the building. And then once you interact with those lights, you can grab the seed from that place and move right on along to the next one, which for me is actually on the path into the flying range, or the shooting range, I guess I should say. And that is seed number 783 of our overall adventure, where we just need to place that boulder into the well using our magnesis. And that was pretty simple, but we do need to run out of there pretty quick because there are some silver bokoblins on horseback, and they are nasty. In a little crevice, a short walk away from that area, we have a circle of chilies rather than apples that we'll need to place a spicy pepper into the remaining tray, and then we can claim the rewards from this locale. You'll also want to make sure that you walk around and claim the spicy peppers back up once you've finished that. Seed number 785 is going to be on the backside of this bone structure in the dragon mire. You'll need to get on the backside of the spine, and you could probably get away with using the flame blade, though I am trying to conserve the durability on that just in case it's needed. You can whack it with any other metal type weapon, clear the leaves off the top of it, or shoot it with a flame arrow, and then lift the rock up off of this guy's head. Claim your reward before dropping the rock back down on top of his head. Of course, that last bit's optional, but not where we can help it. Seed number 786 is going to be a stone pattern puzzle, and the rock that is needed to complete this puzzle is hiding back behind this boulder. This is actually right next to the warbler's nest, which is a shrine quest, which we will not be carrying out in this series because that's not the nature of the challenge that we're working on. But now that we have this seed collected, we can move on to the next seed in our overall adventure, which is just a short stroll from where we are currently. That will bring us to seed number 787, which is a flower trail that winds up this mountain that oversees the warbler's nest. And it's a very straightforward path. There's nothing super crazy about it, though the spacing between the flowers is a little bit longer than most tend to be. But you'll know that you've reached it as you see the yellow flower changes to a white flower as you get to the last locale. And as soon as you interact with that one, you will have the seed from this location at your arsenal as well, or as a part of your collection. We can then leave this guy where he's at on top of this mountain and continue over to seed number 788. And this one is going to be a stone nestled within the branches of a very thick trunk tree. This is one of the thicker trees that occur and one of the ones that you cannot chop down. But there's a little rock hanging out in the middle that you can lift off this guy's head, claim your reward before dropping it down on top of his head and continuing into the next section. The next couple of seeds we'll need to grab are accessed in or around the Rito village, but as we do so, we are greeted by the warning cry of Va Meadow, and we will not be interacting with Va Meadow. But it's important to know that that cutscene has been activated, meaning it's the last of the divine beasts that we will interact with. Seed number 789 is a nice little stone that is atop a spire right outside the Rito village. You can access it from that main walking path you saw that we were walking on just moments before. And while we're here in the Rito village, we may as well go ahead and get ourselves the cold resistance. That's going to set you back a couple thousand rupees, but it's nice to have, and we no longer need to rely on our Great Flame Blade. From here, we'll want to climb up to the top of the perch that's here atop the Rito village, and that is because there is a balloon that's hanging out that we'll need to go ahead and pop. Best way to do that is with an arrow, though I suppose you could use a javelin or other weapons to kind of throw at that. If you could get a bomb in that trajectory, it might work well as well, but the arrow is by far the path of least resistance for that seed. A short glide away from that exact point where we shot the balloon, there is a large spire in the middle of the lake that has a hollow crater up top, and as you can see as we come right down over the top of it, there are a couple of trays, one that has an apple in it and one that does not, so you'll want to go ahead and toss the apple down right in the middle of that tray in order to claim the seed for yourself from this spot. And if you really are feeling up to it, there's some luminous stones that you can break open and collect, but that's not going to be necessary with what we're looking for. A short glide from that taller tower, we have a middle-sized tower where there is a gliding time trial. You'll just need to step on that pad to activate the time circle down on this lowest, shortest pillar, and then make your way down. You've got plenty of time to glide over and get that. So as long as you have your trajectory right and you don't dip down too low, you're not going to have anything to worry about when collecting this seed. Now seed number 793 is going to be atop one of the peaks here in the Hebra Mountains. You'll just want to lift the rock off the top of this guy's head and collect your goods. And though this is not the highest point, we will be there very, very shortly. We just need to give this guy a concussion first before we are allowed to move on our way, and then climb back up to safety as the rock tries to take us down with it. Seed number 794 is atop yet another mountain peak, but instead of being a rock, it is a arrow shooting puzzle with 3 different circles that they do go around in a circle, but they go around horizontally as they swing around in the sky. So just get your coordinates locked in on those and kind of get a feel for the pattern as you loose your arrows, and you shouldn't have too much of a struggle when it comes to getting those 3 balloons popped and claiming the seed from here. Seed number 795 is going to be another acorn sticking out the end of a hollow log. This one is doable with a bomb, though you did see that there is wind blowing, so your bomb may very well go off course as you're attempting to blast it. So an arrow might be a little easier. Seed number 796 is going to be another one of these icebergs that we need to melt down. And again, I find this best to do with the flame blade weapons, even though we're no longer using the flame blade to increase our cold resistance. It does work very, very well from a proximity point to melt down these bergs and give us access to the fairy lights that lie on the underside. Once it's burst, you'll just need to interact with those fairy lights in order to claim that one for yourself. And I think that iceberg was so much fun that we're going to do it again. And so we'll employ the same tactic as we move over here with our flame blade and stand in very close proximity to this other ice flow. Now, sometimes there are these ice flows that just hang out around that have a couple of other interesting artifacts that you can claim. Some of them occult different chests, some of them hide shrines, so it might be worth your time to just kind of search underneath the whole of them. But we're looking for the ones that contain those fairy lights to collect our Korok seeds and get out of this frozen barren wasteland as quick as we can. But that's not going to be today, unfortunately. We can, however, move on to seed number 798, which is going to be a short glide down through what is the highest mountain in the Hebra mountain range. Though we are not up at the peak, we are in the middle of the crater from the blast that happened, or the laser blast that happened during the Great Calamity. There's a little rock hanging out down here, back behind a pile of rubble. and lifting the rock off of his head leaves him very grateful, but also looking very cold. So let's try and keep him warm by dropping that rock back down on top of him. Seed number 799 is indeed the highest point in the entire map across the land of Hyrule. And of course, there is a simple Korok hiding underneath a stone on the top of that peak, because why wouldn't there be? So we'll just want to lift that off the top of his head, grab the seed, drop it back down on top of him before moving to the last seed of today's adventure, which does involve rocks, but it doesn't involve Koroks hiding under them. This one is a circle pattern puzzle that you will need to complete by throwing 2 different stones down into the formation there. But we were rudely interrupted by some Stalmoblins, so we'll want to take these guys out as quickly as possible. Fortunately, these guys do not have ranged weaponry, but rather they have up-close and personal weaponry. And with 2 simple shots, we were able to take them down and then continue back on our standard progression. We'll want to take this stone and place it in this hole in the pattern, and then there is another stone just a short while over here that we can grab and move into the adjoining formation in order to claim the seed from this locale. And just like that, we have reached the 8/9 completion of collecting all seeds within the game. So if you're excited to see the last 100 seeds, and probably what are some of the most difficult seeds in terms of traversal, well, those ones are yet to come. So make sure that you stick around for the next installment in this series. But until then, thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.